Friends, it is one of my favorite times of the year. It is canning season, so we are gonna take fresh, ripe, delicious blackberries, make a very simple jam. You're gonna be able to make it too. You're gonna have jam for your shelf to use, give away, hoard for yourself, and see how easy it is. Let's make it. Canning is not a scary process. It's not something that is like, oh no, I don't know if I can do this. It is something you can do, and I'm gonna take you through and let you know how easy it is. To start, I always have my jars ready. These are sterilized, they're ready to go. I just think it's easiest to have everything ready to begin with. My water bath is on the stove, meaning a kettle that is designed with a rack in the bottom to lift the jar so they don't touch the bottom because you don't want them to touch that close to the heat. And it has water in it that's coming to a boil. You want everything to be ready because it makes the process so much more simple. And I think we have the image of our grandmas, moms, or you just have this picture in your head of these people over a stove just toiling away when hot weather. You don't have to do these massive amounts of canning. You can do small amounts, small batches, enjoy it, give it as gifts. It's such a fun process, and that's why I want you to be excited about it. So blackberry jam. When things are in season, when things are fresh and they taste their best, peak ripeness, farmers markets, local farms where you can go pick, that's when you make these things so you can enjoy the best flavor with the most nutrients. So we're gonna start with, this is my jam pan. It's a little bit big for this because we're not making that much, but it still just works well. We have blackberries, beautiful blackberries, but we need to crush them to get this process started. So I'm gonna throw them right in here. And I'm just gonna take like a potato masher. You could use some other type of thing. And I'm gonna start crushing them. Now I like that this is deep, even though you can't see it in it as well, because we don't want it to splatter everywhere. So I'm just gonna start by pushing down and see how I'm releasing the juices. This is what's gonna give us a correct measurement when we measure them. You can strain out some of the seeds if you want to. I personally am like, you know what, raspberries, blackberries, they have seeds. That's part of the process. I don't do that. But if you want to, you can. It's just, it'll take a little bit more time. Now I am using, if you notice, a black spatula because this is going to stain whatever it gets in top of. So I'm going to measure out what I need. And this is now the important process, and to understand the method we are doing today is called the Pectin method, meaning we are using a prepared pectin that you mix into this to give it the exact texture you want with a lot less cooking time than you would with a traditional jam that is just sugar and fruit and that you cook to a correct temperature. So this is to me the gateway into jams and to know exactly what you want to do. Once it's measured out, and it's essential when you're following a pectin method like this, that you measure things correctly. Don't think, oh, I'm gonna add a few more in. No, it is exactly designed when it's a prepackaged pectin to perfectly work with the amount of fruit needed. So this is not something you deviate from. This is something you follow exactly. And just remember, blackberry stains everything, so dress accordingly. So now that we have the blackberries in here, this is really, to me, exciting because you're taking something that is just so of the season and making something you can use all year long. Now remember, there are differences between jams to fruit butters to jellies. Jellies only use the fruit juice. A jam uses the fruit. That's why there's pieces of fruit in here. So now what we want to do, again, to have everything ready, is measure out the sugar. Now this is the part that can always seem when you're making something at home like, what? This amount of sugar? We're actually using, and I always only use, the low sugar amount. And as I'm measuring, you're probably thinking like, that's impossible, Kayla, that's a lot of sugar. It is, but you know what jam is? It's fruit and sugar. And yes, you can choose to do something different if you want and follow, a different version, but this is gonna give you great flavor and it's something you use as a treat. I think that's always the important part. So that's gonna be our total amount of sugar, but we're gonna take a little bit out. We're gonna take it and put it right into a small little container here. This sugar now is ready to go when we need it later in the recipe. Again, having everything ready as you go to me is the best way to have success in canning. It takes the stress off. It just makes it so easy. We're gonna take this pectin and we're gonna mix it with this small amount of sugar. And you can see here, what it is just really a powder. It almost looks like a gelatin, but it's not. So we're gonna put it right beside and mix this together. This just helps it disperse more correctly and evenly. So I'm just gonna quickly kind of mix that together with some of the sugar. Put it in there. You just set it right on top for now. And now the other things that are going in are pretty simple. A little small amount of butter. This just helps it not to foam near as bad on top. And then a little squeeze of lemon juice. Lemon to me is essential anytime you're doing really anything with fruit. And that's because it brings out more of the natural flavors and helps it sing to me in your mouth. I'm gonna stir this together here just to make sure it's all mixed together. And then what we're gonna do, and again, this is not a method you deviate from when you're using this pectin. That's what's great about it. It's such an easy, straightforward, follow the instructions, you will have the same outcome every time method. We're gonna take this over. We're gonna bring this to a rolling boil. What that means is, it is a boil that as you're stirring it, does not stop boiling. And I can try to show you that here along the way, but that is essential to get it to that point before we add the rest of the sugar. I want you to see that right now it's starting to boil or simmer around the edges. You can see that, and I am stirring it. You wanna keep stirring it, but do you notice when I stir it, that boil goes away at first? So that is stirring down the boil, meaning it is not at a rolling boil. You want it to be boiling all the way into the center, and when you stir it, which I'll show you, it doesn't stop. So we're not there yet. So this might be hard to see, but as I'm stirring, if you notice, it's really boiling, obviously, into the center. And as I stir it, look, it's still just boiling. It's not stopping. That is a rolling boil, which is it's a term actually used in canning a lot. You want things to come to a rolling boil, pretty much meaning they're at full temperature all the way throughout. So now what we're gonna do, and this is why we have it measured out, we're gonna pour in the rest of our sugar. Yeah, it's a lot, just go with it. And we're gonna stir this and let it cook. We want it though first to come back up to this rolling boil, because at first that's gonna bring the temperature down a little bit, but don't stop stirring it because it could burn at this point with all that sugar. So once it's fully at that boil again, and I'm stirring and I can't stop that boil, I'm gonna time it for 1 minute, and then it's done. This has now cooked. It took a couple of minutes to bring it back up to a rolling boil, and then it cooked for 1 minute, and now you have a beautiful jam. Now never get scared. When a jam is hot, it is runny. That is very normal. When it's pectin, even if you're doing a different method. When it cools is when it gels or makes it more thick. So what we're gonna do, we have our sterilized jars. I use a nice big funnel. I think having, good ladles and things makes a difference here. And we're just gonna fill them up. And the essential part here is just to make sure you have a 1/4 inch of headspace, which you start to gauge and you kind of know after you've done a few. So I kind of know right where to go on my funnel, and that's how I gauge it. But then you come up, you go to the next one, try to keep as clean as you can. You don't have to be perfect, but the thing is here, if you keep it a little cleaner now, it's less to clean up, and I'll show you here. You do need to clean it up. See, like that one I filled probably a little too full. So what I do in that case is I grab a spoon, and you're gonna take some out. It doesn't really, just take out enough to get to that 1/4 inch. The headspace, what it matters is one, it's about, safety for when you're canning, but it also is making sure to have the correct amount so it seals correctly. So you notice I have these on a rack, on a baking sheet. That to me just keeps it so it stays clean and I don't get any drips anywhere else than that. So now I'm wiping it off with hot water. Just this one doesn't even have hardly any on it, but if it did, it could inhibit a good seal. So you wanna make sure, always inspect your jars if they're not brand new, because yes, you can reuse jars. And make sure they don't have any chips on them even if they are new. And otherwise, you put on your prepared lids, you have a ring. If you reuse your rings, which you can do, make sure they're not too rusty, that they inhibit a good tight seal. You tighten them, and then you go what's called to fingertip tightness, which sounds hard, but really it's where you tighten it and know you could maybe with all your strength go a little bit more, but you don't, because that could cause it to buckle. Honestly, you do one and you're like, oh, okay, tight, we're good. Now I'm gonna fill up the rest of the jars, then we just water bath them. The jars are all ready, and this is another reason I like to have them on something like a tray, a baking sheet, just because you can pick them up easily, take them over, and it acts as a little extra sheet here on my stove. And so my water is boiling. I'm gonna turn it back up though to kind of a high boil to make sure. And then I'm just going to use a jar lifter. Again, these right tools are essential. And I'm gonna put them right in on the rack that's fitted on the bottom. And this is, now, some people like to say at this point, old recipes, you don't have to process them. You just put them on hot and let them seal. Correct, they usually will seal. I follow USDA canning guidelines. They like to have a 10-minute process time that's really fast. That just certifies a very good, safe seal so they can sit on your shelf. And I follow that, and really, what is a 10-minute, 10 minutes, that's all it is. So put these in, time them, we're done. It goes fast, and look how easy this was. With this amount of sugar, I always say it's like in pickling. If you use a high amount of vinegar, It's the same as in like jam making. High ratio of sugar makes this a very safe environment. So it's a great thing to start with if you're worried about canning, if you're worried about the safety of it. This is a very simple. The high ratio of sugar makes it very easy, very safe. Water bathing is quick. It's not pressure cooking. So now we can bring these over, and already they're drawing in. And what that means is, do you hear that? There's a little ding. It's the music to a canner's ears, which are gonna be your ears really soon because you're a canner now. What happens is, it sucks the air out at the very end. So when you take these out, and sometimes it happens before you put them in, but it starts drawing in. You see that little divot in the center. Oh, guys, this is perfect. I couldn't have timed this better. It draws in when that clicks and you see it go down, which don't touch it yet. Don't touch it. That means all the air is out and it's gonna be safe. So then what we do is we let these sit for 12, 24 hours. You want them to fully cool off. Then, a lot of people don't do this. You should remove the rings and just ensure it's sealed. I don't store them with the rings on because I reuse my rings. And no, you don't have, another one. You don't have to store them with the ring on. It's sealed at that point. But I do like to remove it, make sure it's a good seal, just, lightly move it. If one happens to not seal, it's safe to use. Put it in your fridge and you're just gonna have jam right away. What could be better than that? Because every so often it happens. I don't know. And sometimes you don't know why. So here we go. This is some that I had left. Look at how already it's cooling. Look at that beautiful texture of it. See, it's perfect. And that's what you want. Wow. It's so good. I think what's amazing, it's such like a blackberry explosion flavor, which of course it should be, right? But that's the point of home canning. You're taking something at its best and you're preserving it in a way so you can use it and enjoy it and just have those flavors throughout the colder months, throughout the winter, or if you're gonna use it really soon, that's fine too. It's whatever you want, but seriously, think of gifts right here, right? So today we made something that to me is very simple, very straightforward, but also is gonna give you the basics of canning. This is Canning 101. Jam making is a great way to start if it's new. I love it. If it's new to you, because it's so simple, it's pretty quick, and you get something that you're gonna find uses for. Yogurt, ice cream, bars, literal jam on toast. Anything you want, even try it on like a charcuterie board, do things like that. Okay, so what do I hope you do with this? I hope you make jam. I hope you feel confident making jam. I hope you feel comfortable because that's the whole point. Share this recipe around so others can too. And as always, check my website, wyseguide.com for this recipe and so many others. Mini jams, mini preserving things are on there along with other recipes. Enjoy.